something. I mean, I don't know shit about fucking electricity and how it's managed, and especially in this kind of situation, but you'd think there'd be someone who was an expert in this specific, like, this lighting system, whatever the lighting system is. You would think there would be somebody. Are they all dead? There's nobody who knows how to run this thing? What the fuck is up, Internet? I'm that dude Swainzilla, aka old guy with too much time on his hands, coming at you from the man cave, and this is crazy ass news. The idea behind this series is that I scour the internet for crazy, recent, non-political news stories that I don't know anything about. I pick articles based solely on their headlines, and I read through them while talking shit the whole time. Lights stuck on at school for a year because no one can turn them off. Sheesh. Can you imagine what that bill looks like? With today's prices? Shit, I couldn't go a week with my lights stuck on before I'm outside cutting down the power lines or something. Wilbraham, Massachusetts. For nearly a year and a half, a Massachusetts school has been lit up around the clock because the district can't turn off the roughly 7,000 lights in the sprawling building. 7,000 lights? Dude! Yo, those lights being on for like a day is like probably my monthly bill. Just one day. 7,000 lights? The lighting system was installed at Minnetonka Regional High School when it was built over a decade ago and was intended to save money and energy. But ever since the software that runs it failed, on August 24th, 2021, the lights in the Springfield suburb school have been on continuously, costing taxpayers a small fortune. The taxpayers are paying for this because they can't figure out how to turn these lights off. There's no one that they can... There's no way... Wow. You'd think they'd be able to rig up something like some kind of a power switch for like that specific grid of the school or something. I mean, I don't know shit about fucking electricity and how it's managed, and especially in this kind of situation, but you'd think there'd be someone who was an expert in this specific, like, this lighting system, whatever the lighting system is. You would think there would be somebody. Are they all dead? There's nobody who knows how to run this thing? We are very much aware this is costing taxpayers a significant amount of money, Aaron Osborne, Assistant Superintendent of Finance at the Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School District, told NBC News. And we have been doing everything we can to get this problem solved. Dude, I mean, turn the power off and just bring some generators in there or something. I mean, you can't. This is not sustainable. The amount of juice that these people are going through every day, let alone a year and a half? Bro. Osborne said it's difficult to say how much money is costing because during the pandemic and in its aftermath, energy costs have fluctuated wildly. They really have. I mean, they were low as fuck during the pandemic early, and now they're all high as fuck again. Still, I mean, you don't know how much you've spent on electricity? I mean, you honestly don't know the difference? Oh, jeez. Nah, that's crazy. I would say the net impact is in the thousands of dollars per month on average, but not in the tens of thousands, he says. I don't know. The fact that he says, but not in the tens of thousands, makes me lean towards it being in the tens of thousands, for sure. Like, there's no reason for him not to say that, or for him to say that. That in part is because the high school uses highly efficient fluorescent and LED bulbs, he said, and when possible, teachers have manually removed bulbs from fixtures in classrooms, while staffers have shut off breakers not connected to the main system to douse some of the exterior lights. I mean, yeah, there has to be some lights that they have to be able to manage it a little bit. I don't know how much that's helping. I mean, pulling the light bulbs out doesn't turn the electricity off. I guess that's they're not on. Still, having the lights on at Minachung all the time is a conspicuous waste of taxpayer money. Wilbraham's town selectman, oh my God, what? Wilbraham's town selectman said in an August 8th, 2022 letter to the members of the Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School District. The image it projects is one of profligacy in a time when many families in the communities. What is profligacy? Is profligacy? Profligacy?
Profligacy.
Profligacy. In a time when many families in the communities in the district serves are struggling with their own energy costs, they wrote. Yeah, just on. Jeez. But there's hope on the horizon that the lights at Manachung will soon be dimmed. Paul Mustone, president of the Reflex Lighting Group, said the parts they need to replace the system at the school have finally arrived from the factory in China, and they expect to do the installation over the February break. Finally! Jesus, from China? I mean, I guess that sucks too, because then you have the supply chain shit, and if this was so old that it fucking took a shit, then probably finding the pieces for it are difficult to begin with, and then you have to get it from China. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see it, but still. And yes, there will be a remote override switch, so this won't happen again, said Mustone, whose company has been in business for more than 40 years. Manachung is the only high school in its district and serves 1,200 students from the towns of Wilbraham and Hampden. The original high school building, which dates back to 1959, was replaced with the current 248,000 square foot structure in 2012. So they put the lighting in 2012. So you're talking 11-year-old lighting system. Well, I guess 9 years is when it took a shit. What do they need 48,000 square feet for 1,200 kids to? Jesus. Seems like a lot of room. One of the cost-saving measures the school board insisted on was a green lighting system run on software installed by a company called Fifth Light to control the lights in the building. The system was designed to save energy and thus save money, but by automatically adjusting the lights as needed. Okay. But in August 2021, staffers at the school noticed that the lights were not dimmed in the daytime and burning brightly throughout the night. The lighting system went into default, said Osborne, and the default position for the lighting system is for the lights to be on. That's interesting. The default position for the lighting system is to be on. Huh. I mean, I guess it's a 50-50. Either, I mean, if it's off, you don't want them to be off, because then, I mean, for a year and a half, there'd be no lights in the school. So I guess you want the default system to be lighting system on. But that's crazy. Osborne said they immediately reached out to the original installer of the system, only to discover that the company had changed hands several times since the high school was built. In 9 years? When they finally tracked down the current owner of the company, Reflex Lighting, several more weeks went by before the company was able to find somebody familiar with the high school's lighting system, he said. Jesus. In the meantime, Lily DeGrande, who is now a 16-year-old junior and a co-editor of The Smoke Signal, the online high school newspaper, published an article on November 3rd, 2021 with the headline, "What's Wrong with the Lights?" The teachers were complaining because they couldn't dim the lights to show videos and movies on the whiteboard, DeGrande told NBC News. The teachers now try to get around it by unscrewing light bulbs, but the light seems to be on everywhere in the school. Soon, Wilbraham's town selectmen began hearing complaints from the residents. The Board of Selectmen members have received and continue to receive complaints regarding the lights being left on at night in Manichung Regional High School. Yeah, I mean, dude, if you're like, I mean, I feel like the high school lights are always on, though, aren't they? At least the hall lights. So this, they couldn't turn off the. There's always like, I feel like if you were to drive by your high school late at night, there's like some lights on in there. I mean, it's not pitch black in that bitch. But they must not have been able to turn off the classroom lights. The lights that are being referred to are the classroom lights. Are the classroom lights, not the outdoor lights. There is a significant amount of concern expressed by citizens that this is a waste of energy and in turn taxpayer dollars. Yeah, they're pissed. The town's leaders added that this issue may be one of lesser cost or importance in the overall operation of the district, but it is unfortunately a visible one. Yeah, it fucking sticks out like a sore thumb. Osborne, along with school superintendent John Provost, assured the town leaders that they had been working on the problem. After many weeks of effort, we were provided a rough estimate in excess of 1.2 million. Jesus! To comparably replace the entire system, Osborne and Provost wrote in an August 26, 22 response. But yeah, I mean, these lighting systems seem to be like a fickle business. You go pay $1.2 million for this, and then 9 years later it takes a shit, and the companies broke up all over the place. That estimate was from Reflex Lighting, Osborne told NBC News. But with the pandemic raging, the contractor would not have been able to start doing the job until the following summer, Osborne said. So Osborne and Provost, in their letter to town leaders, wrote that they had hired a software consultant to see if it was possible to patch the system. Yeah, I mean, to override the default system, and when that proved unworkable, they explored the possibility of having simple timers installed or even an on-off switch. Yeah, an on-off switch should have been the first fucking thing you tried to figure out. This was eventually deemed not possible, and the district moved on to looking at physical solutions that would retain some of the energy-saving intent of the original lighting management system, Osborne and Provost wrote in their response. Jesus Christ, this is long-winded. There's a lot that goes on. I feel like man, it seems like there'd have to be a breaker or something that you could just flip off. I mean, 2012? What kind of lighting system did they install? I mean, if it's computer operated, that they can dim the lights, I don't know how, I mean, by voice or something. Maybe it was Alexa type shit. Osborne said they had no choice but to go back to reflex lighting, and with the help of the company's electrical engineers, came up with what he described as a piecemeal approach to solving the problem by replacing the server, the lighting control boards, and other hardware. Yeah, like a patch, like you said. In November 2021, the parts were ordered and the repair job was supposed to start in February 2022, but the replacement main server wasn't delivered to Wilbraham until March 2022, which Osborne and Provost described in their letter to town leaders as relatively on schedule. Jesus. It was very frustrating, but we were dealing with the pandemic and supply chain issues, yeah, Osborne said. Osborne and Provost also reported that the remaining equipment has been back-ordered multiple times, and the district was given a new delivery date of October 14th, 2022. I mean, they probably had to, like, invent something. You know what I mean? These guys, this guy and his business, they probably had to, like, figure out the patch. They probably had to figure out the patch and had to design something and create it and then have it built And now they're trying to get it sent to them, and they're hoping the shit works at this point. While we are hopeful this will be met, we are of course skeptical, they wrote. So for now, the lights are stuck on. In turn, it turned out they were right to be skeptical. The Christmas 2022 season came and went, and the replacement parts were not delivered, and the lights remained on in Manichang. The final lighting system transition did not happen over break as expected because our vendor contacted us on the last day school was in session to reschedule the transition work, Osborne said in a subsequent January 3rd letter to the Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School Committee. This was surprising and disappointing to us. We had this date locked with Reflex since October. Man, that's got to be frustrating. You're catching heat from the locals. They want your head for fucking spending their taxpayer dollars. You can't find anybody to fucking fix this lighting system. And these guys probably weren't even on the job 9 years ago. So whoever built the fucking place, they're not responsible for whoever the state built it. Or whoever, the state or whoever, the taxpayers build it. So who knows where the plans came from? I doubt it was these guys that were in charge of that. Maybe they are responsible. Just feels like there would be a simple fix to that. Just fucking, but hey, what do I know? It's computers, technology. It kind of does its own thing sometimes. Now, Osborne said, we're not expecting them to come until February, but we are pushing to do it sooner. But he's confident that waiting it out was the right decision. I didn't have any other choice, apparently. We could have accepted the $1.2 million bid to rip the system out and start over right away, but I suspect we would find ourselves in the same position, he said. As I see it, there wasn't an alternative, right? Exactly like I said. Stone said the pandemic essentially shut down the factories in China that produce the components they need to do this kind of work, he said. It's a lot cheaper to build things over there, but lots of American companies like this are now paying the price. I've been doing this for 42 years, and I have never seen this kind of supply chain disruption, he said. We made a deal with the devil by moving the factories to China. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, Jesus. I can't imagine that bill, like... dude, he said it's definitely not in the tens of thousands, and I swear he probably winked at the guy who was asking him, like, that sounds way too suspicious, way too specific. That sounded sus, bruh. Definitely in the tens of thousands of dollars a month. It might even be, it's probably, even though they've been taking some light bulbs out, they've been finding a way to get some of the exterior lights off. And, they're all like energy saving lights to begin with. I mean, 7,000 lights they can't turn off though? Like, that's doing some damage, right? That's doing some real damage. And it's got to be expensive. And like they said, the way the prices fluctuate, and they've been high, they're kind of dipping now a little bit. Who knows? I don't drive, so I don't pay attention to that shit. But it's gotta be pretty expensive. It's gotta be damned expensive. I just feel like they had to have overlooked the easiest choice. But like I said, computers, technology, I mean, if you cut one thing, the whole thing goes down. You can't get it back going. I mean, that was a long-ass article, but they left out a lot of details even within it. But man, so long-winded. Sorry that was so long. Anyway, what do you think about this situation? Do you think that they could have figured out a different way to turn the lights out? Because that's where I'm at. I mean, dude, go outside. Bust the breakers. Hire those guys that are like taking out the power... what the fuck are they called? The power centers or whatever out in the Midwest. Find those guys to come in and knock down some of these power lines. I mean, Jesus. Just turn the shit off, and then Even if you just hooked up regular electricity to it. If you just had the power company come in, you know what I mean? It would be cheaper. It would have to be cheaper to just run regular juice through the place, install regular lines until you figured out how to replace this shit. But what do I know? Anyway, that's all I got for now. Later.